Good afternoon. I'm starting now on a new chapter, Isaiah chapter 24. You know, this is breaking some new ground, but it's also covering some ground that we've already covered in the New Testament. What book? Revelation. So listen to this. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. Now, do you know, is it possible for the Lord to turn the world, the earth, upside down, where the South Pole is where the North Pole is, and the North Pole is where the South Pole is? Or is he speaking figuratively of everything being topsy-turvy, and the society, the culture, everything? But we don't know. But this is what he said. He maketh the earth empty. The earth seems to get fuller and fuller and fuller. You know, fuller of cars, more cars. There's probably not a word fuller, is there? Maybe. Anyhow, it is fuller. Fuller of people, of trash heaps, of houses. If you saw a picture of the earth with all the satellites around it, it looks like we've got a swarm of gnats around the earth. It does. It doesn't look nice at all because of all the satellites around the earth. So the earth is getting fuller and fuller. But the Bible says, behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty. Now, this 24th chapter is in 712 BC. It wasn't nearly as full as it is now. It is now. It certainly did not have satellites surrounding it in space. Anyhow, he says, behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty. When he says behold, he means look at this. Look. And maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. When's the last time he scattered abroad the inhabitants thereof? Well, after Noah came the Tower of Babel, and how they built that tower and said, now, you know, we will just be one people, and God looked at it. Let's go back there in Genesis. I don't care about rushing through this because it's a lot in it. But I'm going to go back here to the Tower of Babel, way back here after Noah, in chapter 11. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. When he does this, when he scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof next time, how will we be of one language and one speech? Really, the English language is all over the world. It's been spread by television and technology. And you can, like, for example, I heard the other day that in Nigeria and many of the African countries, English is their language. They have another language, but they all know English because of them being a British colony. So the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. It's closer to being that. And it came to pass, this is in chapter 11 of Genesis, in verse 2, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them truly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. They didn't want to be scattered abroad. Let us make us a name. Let us be one people. And that's where God scattered them abroad. It says in the bottom, it says, go to, verse 7. It's when God's speaking. Let us go down in there, confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Remember in verse 6 what it said. Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. So God knew us human beings, and he knew if we ever got to be one language and got all together, and we've been doing it. We've been doing things that we imagine, and we imagine it, and pretty soon we're doing it. Right? What about AI? Artificial intelligence. We imagined it, now it's being done. So here the Lord is doing this. This is way after the Tower of Babel. Let me see what that date said on that. That'd be interesting to look at. Get back to it. Chapter 11, 2247 BC. And this is 712 BC. 2247. So 1735 years, something like that, later. Here comes Isaiah prophesying that it's going to happen again. God is going to turn it upside down and scatter abroad the inhabitants thereof. So it's going to be empty, maketh the Lord earth empty, but not without inhabitants. There will be some. Verse 2 says, and it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord has spoken this word. So it won't matter what position you hold in this life at that time, because it's going to happen to the regular people and the priest. It's going to happen to the servant and the master. I mean, wherever you are in your culture, you're going to experience this. The world being turned upside down, scattered abroad, it being made waste and empty. Wow. Can you imagine that right where you're sitting right now? Right where you're sitting, and right what you're doing, and where you're sitting. I'm sitting at my dining room table. If the Lord turned this world upside down, what would happen to my house? I don't know. What would happen if he made it waste, where there was no food growing? There was nothing there to feed us. What would happen? There was no electricity. There was nothing to help us to live. God has a plan, and his plan is including destruction and wrath. When you read in the book of Revelation, you read that. It happens. It's going to happen. And it's not just in Revelation. Now we're reading it in Isaiah chapter 24. And verse 3 said, the land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken this word. So you can't, I remember this. I remember back in the back pasture of our land, there was a place that was right edging a creek. There was a creek that ran on the border of our land and the other person's land. A creek that we could go back there and see. Well, one day we went back there and saw that creek, and there was this most beautiful green grass that was growing in front of the creek. It was so beautiful. You know, it was it's hard to describe. There was this little creek and the beautiful green grass, and one of the prettiest pictures I ever saw, and it was in the back of our pasture. Well, I went back there one day to see it again. Did you know we had cows? And the cows had stomped that grass and made big holes, and it was just a mess. No longer was it beautiful. And this world that we're living in, you can take pictures of the beautiful sunrises and sunsets, and the beautiful lakes and trees that are growing. We can see it's still beautiful. But this says, the land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled. That beautiful place was spoiled by those cows walking over that grass and making holes in it. It had rained, and it was like mud, and it was ruined. It wasn't beautiful anymore. And that's the way it's going to be on this earth, only it's not just going to be one little spot that's beautiful. It's going to be everywhere. Everywhere, everything is going to be emptied and spoiled. Utterly emptied and utterly spoiled. For the Lord hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. Do you know what the word languish means? I should have looked it up. Let's see if it's back here. Languish. It's something that means it is of no value. Languish. Nope. All right, I'll be right back. It says to become weak or to droop. Here comes Bill through. Come on, Bill. Oh, you don't? All right. Come here, Bill. Put your face in here. If you can get down this low. There he is. There's my Bill. The Lord's Bill. Anyhow, languish means to droop, become weak. It's just unlively, nothing. It's just weak and of no value. Anguish. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth. It droops, gets weak and weary, and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. Instead of being, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other, it's I'm nothing. I have nothing. I'm of no value. Verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. Listen, this is in 712 BC. We know if Sodom and Gomorrah, if the people there defiled that country so that it took fire and brimstone to destroy all of it, because it was so defiled under the inhabitants thereof, what's happening in our world? How many cities can you say are defiled? And here's how they got defiled. Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. They have transgressed the laws. The laws of God are not even listened to anymore, much less obeyed. They don't want them in front of them anymore. They want them destroyed. But that's why it's going to happen. And here we are in 2026 AD, 2026. You add that to 712. That's 2,738 years later. Is the earth also defiled under the inhabitants thereof? Yes. Yes, it is. Because they have transgressed the laws. They have. I did, and I needed Jesus' blood to wash me clean. I'm not saying I wasn't involved. I was. I was a sinner, and I transgressed the laws. But the Lord has forgiven me, and I'm seeking to live by His word and obey His word and stand up for His word. But most people are not. Most people are still wanting to transgress the laws. They're wanting to change the ordinance against homosexuality, the ordinance against fornication, the ordinance against the stealing, cheating, murdering, whatever it is. They want to change the ordinance so they can do whatever they feel like doing. They've broken the everlasting covenant. The everlasting covenant is that God makes with us human beings, for us to obey His laws, live by His word, and then He will bless us. But we're not being blessed because we've broken it. It seems still like we are being blessed because we do still have everything we need, but this passage of Scripture is saying this is coming. All of this turning the earth upside down and scattering abroad the inhabitants and emptying the world, emptying the earth. All of it is coming. I'm going to stop right there. Verse 5. We're going to start the rest of it tomorrow. I want you to realize that it's not just Revelation in the Bible that tells what's going to happen. It's the whole Bible. And in the mouth of two witnesses, every word shall be established. Here's Isaiah. And back here is John. God told Isaiah back then, and in Revelation, and 2 Peter tells us that He's going to do it. He's going to destroy. He's going to turn things upside down. So, I give it to you. Now, I'll read the rest, or some of it, again tomorrow. Probably not the rest, but we'll do some more of it tomorrow. God bless you.